Hi, everyone. This is Tom Parmalee with FuneralVision.com. Today, I'm with Stephen Walter, the CEO of Sunset, which works with funeral homes to help families discover assets belonging to loved ones who have died, as well as offer estate settlement services. Sunset's already working with funeral homes across the country to make a meaningful difference in the lives of families. And you can learn more at its website, hellosunset.com. Stephen, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
First, you launched Sunset only a couple of years ago, and I think it was because of a personal experience that you had that impelled you to launch the company. Why don't you share with us, exactly what that was and what was that moment for you in terms of
Sure,
launching it?
sure. Um, I am not a death care expert. I am not in this industry at all, but I'm so adjacent to it. And I just, first of all, wanted to say thanks for all the work you do. I read every day and I watch your emails religiously. Um, yeah, I had been helping my father close out the estate for a close friend who had passed away. His estate was pretty organized because he had terminal cancer for 12, 18 months, something like that, long battle. And so he had taken the time to meet with his lawyers and accountants, financial planners, get everything organized. And after he passed away, he had named my dad as trustee, along with his lawyer and his financial advisor. As soon as he passed away, um, both of those two reached out to my dad and said, "Hey, like, I'm pretty busy. I'm going to withdraw as trustee. I don't really want to do this." And so it was left in my dad's lap. He called me because I'm an attorney, and he said, "Can you help me with this?" And I just could not believe, like, a simple estate was just being divided up and sent into three different charities. It took us months and months and months. Um, and a lot of that time was just fighting with the financial institutions about like cutting us a check. You're like, he died. This is a simple trust. Like, surely this must happen every day. And so I was really primed for this. We had decided, my co-founder and I, to start a new company. In my professional life, I work in financial technology. And so when we decided to start something new, this idea of like, well, there's all this money changes hands, but there's not really a tool to kind of help money changing hands. And my analogy at the time, which is flawed, but was imagine if like payroll didn't have any software, or imagine if like taxes didn't have any software. It just seemed inconceivable to me that as I looked around the space, there was a lot of service providers who you could hire to take like a percentage of the estate and they would handle it all for you. There were lawyers or accountants, paralegals, etc. But there wasn't any like software, like through and through software to help you do this. And so I was really primed for that. We were 6 months, 4 months into it, and my father-in-law passed away very unexpectedly. Um, had a heart attack at age 62. And my mother-in-law asked me, as sort of the family lawyer, to take care of it. And that's when a lot of things that were just ideas of how to do this really hit the kind of rubber meets the road moment of, okay, exactly how do you do this when you're in charge, when you're that person? And again, his estate was pretty simple because, it's all going to the surviving spouse in this case. Nevertheless, wrangling with these financial institutions, tracking down assets, not easy. And so that's the problem we solve.
Who are some of the main categories that you work with? Obviously you work with funeral homes. I suspect, maybe you also work with lawyers and maybe walk me through that a little bit and how and why does this fit in so nicely with funeral service?
I hope this isn't too glib, but I think the reason it fits in well with funeral service is because it's not an upsell of any kind. Sunset is 100% free. And so I think funeral directors are very cautious about like imposing more costs on a family who's already in the middle of it. And so if the family's asking, hey, do you know how do we hunt down dad's life insurance, for example? Um, the reason funeral directors all over the country recommend Sunset is because they can just say, it's free. And I've had other clients use it and it's worked great for them. The other thing that we do that is, I don't know if it's as obvious to funeral directors, but we can also tell you we didn't find something at MetLife. Does that make sense? So like one of the sort of non-obvious things that's extremely helpful with Sunset is like knowing that where you didn't find things. So you don't have to take the time to kind of go hunt them down. But I think being free is just an extraordinary value prop for funeral directors who are trying to provide as much value as possible inside of the funeral home and outside of it.
Is there a particular point in the process that makes sense for funeral homes to mention Sunset? Maybe, upon that initial arrangement conference, or is it after the funeral? What works best in terms
Yeah.
of mentioning this to families as a resource?
I wouldn't know when it comes to like the interpersonal interface. I know that it works best for the user as when they do it as fast as humanly possible. We can only help after death. We can only help after we have well, we can help somewhat before the death certificate is in place, but our most robust financial searches can't be performed as a matter of compliance until we have that death certificate, a photo of it uploaded. So, maybe the most I have told funeral directors, perhaps the easiest time to mention it is when you are handing them the death certificates. You've driven over to the house or you've had them come over for a consult or something, and you're handing it over to them and saying, by the way, I got 20 of these or whatever for you because a lot of banks and life insurance will require them. There's this service that we really recommend. It's called Sunset. You should check it out because they'll find things you didn't know about. And that's really one of our biggest values.
Now, you mentioned the resource is free, so it doesn't cost the family anything. But if I'm a funeral home recommending this, I want to be sure that half the estate, for instance, it doesn't end up going to Sunset. So
Yeah.
maybe, obviously you need to make some money on your end.
Yeah.
What do those fees look like? To sort of make that funeral home, understand that this is a reasonable
Yeah.
service that they should be recommending.
Yeah. We're not a charity. We do make money. So I always try and like get that extremely clear. When we were starting Sunset, we didn't know exactly how to price this. Um, we heard flat fees in a couple $1,000s, sometimes even up to $10,000. We heard estate percentage, like you'd clip like a healthy chunk of the estate. I heard double digits on that. I was shocked, to be honest, because when I'm selling a home, like, and I'm negotiating with a real estate agent on their fee, I have a good sense of like how much is this home going to sell for? Is it like $300,000 or $3 million? So when I'm deciding between like 1% and 3% on a real estate agent, I have a sense of like how much is that?
Mhm.
Um, when you're dealing with an estate, especially a complicated one, you have no idea how much that estate is worth. People are wildly off in both directions, in my experience. So anyway, um, we decided instead to take our fee from our partner bank. And the way that works is we'll find all the assets for free. The assets, retirement accounts, life insurance, whatever else you would like to use Sunset to close those down and transfer the money. The process by which that happens is we open an estate bank account or a trust bank account or a beneficiary bank account. The money is mailed to us or wired to us. We deposit the checks, we clear the wires, and while that money sits in those accounts with our partner bank, they pay us the interest generated. So the principal that comes in from the estate is one to one the principal that goes out when it comes time to distribute to the heirs. So if the entire estate is worth $100,000, we gather all that cash up, all those stocks, bonds, property, cars, whatever, and then that $100,000 goes out to the family at the end of the day. So we're very comfortable. It is 100% free. There is no hidden fee. There's no hidden cost. The most that you're going to miss out on is some interest yield from a savings account for the months that this is in progress.
Wow, that's amazing and really, really creative. I guess my next question is on that asset discovery. Can you give me maybe an overview of some of the main areas, some of the main categories you're looking at
Yeah.
when you're trying to look for those assets?
Yep, yep. We do a credit search, right? So we actually do assets and debts. So you'll know instantly if grandpa owed money on his credit card or the mortgage or a personal loan, et cetera. We're the only tool online that can find and get back to you on insurance policies. There is a insurance search tool that's owned by the insurance conglomerate, NAIC. They'll only respond to you if they have something. But Sunset will let you know, like, hey, we searched through all of these and we found a hit at, I don't know, Northwestern or something. Um, we also search every bank, every credit union in the country. We search every retirement brokerage. We search every investment brokerage as well. We make an exhaustive search of all online financial accounts. We also search for property. We look through title records. That can be particularly helpful when you're trying to figure out how this property is meant to change hands, like how a property is set up upon death. Is it co-owned? Is it joint in tenancy? It's complicated and legal, but we can make that process really easy as well. Um, to be, I don't, I can't think of any major thing we don't search for. we, but I'm every once in a while I'm surprised. So storage units came up like last week. They were A user said, "Hey, I'm pretty sure Dad had a storage unit, but we don't know where it is." And we're like, I don't know how to search for that, but we gave them a couple of ideas and stuff. Usually that's just a radius search, like what are the nearby storage units,
Mhm.
right? So we're always thinking of creative things, but we truly try to search for every physical and liquid asset.
How do you deal with, complex scenarios? Maybe there's multiple properties, international assets, compared with the more straightforward scenarios.
Yeah. This is a tool that sits in our users' hands. So we're luckily not in we aren't in the place where we have to make decisions on behalf of our users. Um, if they have questions, if they need help, we have a hotline and we have a chat line, we can email. But it's really, and this is really important. Like one thing I love about the US probate process is it really sits in the hands of the family unless there's a problem. Like unless there's a dispute and they're in court yelling at each other, like on I don't know Dallas or like a soap opera or something, then it really does sit in our users' hands of like how do they want to take care of this, right? There is a lot of times where don't do anything right now is the correct answer, right? Um, if if you find you have a property and a resort somewhere and it's climbing in value, like maybe the best thing to do is hold on to that while it's still in the estate for a while, a couple months, couple of years. I mean, these things really are financial decisions that need to sit in the hands of the family who's going to be inheriting.
Funeral professionals, they're great at what they do. They're very compassionate, but estate settlement is not their area of strength.
Now,
Is there like a downloadable flyer that you provide funeral homes to sort of, hand out to the family or any marketing collateral or, how does that, relationship work? How should a funeral home let families know that, look, you can work with Sunset?
Yeah. One thing I always like to do is a quick call with the funeral director who's going to be recommending us. It takes me like 15, 20 minutes. I'll answer all their questions. I'll do a demo if they want to do it. I do like to have a little bit of connective tissue between me and the person recommending Sunset. Um, so I definitely would recommend they always just reach out directly to me, Steven at hellosunset.com. I'm extremely available. Um, we have had funeral directors ask us for like flyers before, so we just generated them and handed them off to them. Whatever works in their process, we're totally happy to accommodate. Um, but mostly, you're just going to send people to the website. It's not like, rocket science. You don't have to fill out some form or something like that. Um, Almost all of our, I mean, truly like rare exceptions, funeral home directors are just happy to have something to put in front of people that doesn't cost tens of thousands of dollars.
Now, there are some various players in this same area in estate settlement. What would you say makes Sunset different?
Yeah. Uh, We are absolutely, no question, the best in the world at finding assets. Our service is user driven, so it's not going to be white glove. You're not going to have an account manager. You're not going to like have basically like offload this to somebody else. Instead, what you're going to get is more of a TurboTax experience. But all of that process from moving money to filing with the bank to going through all the probate, all the way up, flows from search. And there's nobody better than us at finding everything. And once you know what you're dealing with, the path on probate changes dramatically. So that's kind of what I would brag about. And I really give that up to mostly my co-founder Kayla, who's not on the call. She's the real technological genius who figured out how to do the impossible.
And I suppose my last question relates to AI. How are you using it? Has it, impacted the trajectory of your company and your approach in any way?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We use AI all day long, all day long. I personally use AI, um, you know, from the moment I get into the office to the moment I leave. It helps us program so much faster. So the speed at which we can iterate changes and improve our product, that's all because of AI. Our users aren't going to feel AI at all. So we don't have like I don't know, like a probate AI assistant or something where it's like talking to Siri. We've spitballed on some of those ideas, but our belief is that's not really what users want. But it's dramatically changed the way, like the velocity in which we can ship software. But it's funny though, like our users really aren't gonna feel AI when they're interacting with us at all.
Well, Stephen, Sunset, I think you're doing an incredible job. It's amazing work you're doing. I don't know if you have any final thoughts to share with those listening.
No, just that we've been doing our like kind of annual planning the last week, wrapping that up today. And we have so much fun stuff we're going to be shipping next year. The speed at which our users are going to be able to find all of the assets, flow through the process of interacting with all the financial institutions, getting the checks in the mail, depositing and distributing is going to be even faster, even though we're already beating any kind of record online. But we're really, really, really excited about it.
Well, I can tell you, I went through this process myself a couple years ago. I wasn't the executor, but one of the parties involved, and yeah, it was very drawn out, much too complicated. I wish the funeral home would have told us that there was a tool like this available. So if you're listening out there, visit hellosunset.com. And Stephen, thanks so much for joining me.
Hey, appreciate it, Tom. Thank you.